You just started the recording?
Where's my team going? They should probably follow me. Oh wait.
Oh, your stream's froze. Oh, it's back.
Did it?
It's back now.
This day.
Okay, make sure you're using your E a little bit earlier in the fight, right? You want to use that pretty much as the fight's starting. That way you can come in with a ton of health. And there's a whole lot of stuff for you to eat. Like you can get Fire Strike, Junk Spam, right? Just soak up a
Right.
ton of health, and then now you're at like 800 to start off the fight.
Uh. I can't suck that, can I?
Nope. Alright, so they're only got one person with their ult, so I want to make sure we're trying to look for more than one person. And I think we were trying to maybe not overlap with
Even
Hanzo.
then? We were, yeah. Basically, I was trying to get the people that were walking out of the Hanzo ult.
Yeah, so in that situation, you probably want to, because like the Hanzo ult kind of split them up, so you either wanted to ult a lot earlier so that you get it before the Hanzo ult comes out, or you just
Right.
wanted to wait until the Hanzo ult's like done so that we can like wait till they group up again. But basically when we used it, they were all split up, which isn't the time we want to be using it. Alright, really, really nice. Right, yep. So with your ultimate, your goal is to use it when... Oh. Your goal is to use it when there are a lot of people grouped up, not when they're not grouped up at all.
I just did that to win the fight because I didn't want to not get the objective.
So in that situation, probably wasn't necessary though, because it was like a 5v2, right? So in that did we talk about watching kill feed last time?
Right, right.
Yeah. So in that
I
situation,
just know that we're down, so like, you know what I'm saying?
yeah, but
like
even then, it's still a 5v2, right? And that means that now we don't have that ult, which probably would be a lot more useful in this next fight, which we're still at that disadvantage, right? We kind of wanted to keep the momentum up, right? And ultimates would help us a lot with that. But you know, if we don't have that now in this fight, then we're at a big disadvantage. We really didn't even need it in the last one because we had a 3-person advantage. So right. Very nice. The mechanics looking fantastic right now.
Oh, I can't kill that Mercy, damn it.
Oh, make sure you finish out the kill.
I thought I had him, so I already... Oh my god, I gotta watch those traps. You separated? Oh, she's still on the point?
Very nice. Watch for our teams that were pushing a little far forwards there.
I was just trying to get him back up. I want this point. I'm gonna use my ult to try to push him off if they try to push.
Mhm.
I can't. I'm not. I'm gonna die if I go try to ult all of them. I think. I'm gonna try.
Very nice, big ult. Make sure you drop your shield if you're looking for an E on stuff. But in that situation, honest, never mind. I take that back because we wanted just all the protection we could get. So a retracted statement. Very massive rock.
Almost nasty. Come here, bro. I don't even see him. Where'd he go?
All right, so far what we're looking at is I think
got
mechanics
lost.
are looking fantastic. Ability usage is honestly looking really great. Ult usage is probably looking the shakiest so far. With 3 ults. First one got one person.
Yeah,
Second
both the
one, yeah,
first two were pretty shitty. I
yeah,
got you.
exactly. And then on top of that,
I don't know if
awareness
that's where
is
Mercy should go, but
awareness so far is looking like it needs a little bit. It's kind of in the medium area. It needs a little bit of work, and then positioning so far. Just make sure you're hugging corners and walls and cover, and not out in the open. It looks like we've been out in the open a little too much so
where's this
far.
Genji? Yeah, I hear him.
Well, he was above you.
Oh, I got pinned. That's not good.
Make sure you never want to ever step like directly in front of a Reinhardt. If you're trying to get in his face, you always kind of like go to like sideways on him so that he just can't charge you that super easily. You don't have any reaction time if you're right inside of his face, right? So it's just asking to get charged at that point. Again, right? Okay, so there, I think the timing was fine with that ult. We just only got one person in it again, so make sure we're really, really focusing on getting as many people in them as we can. So look to kind of pay attention to which direction the people are moving in, and look to track and follow and put it ahead of them so that we're getting, like, for example, the Ana and the Mercy were walking left to get out of your ult. So if we know that they're going to walk left to get out of our ult, we put it a little bit more left, right? And then that way we get more people up in it. We also got charged by the Reinhardt twice in a row, right? Make sure we're not stepping in front of his face.
Right after you said
Yeah.
it too. I'm like, wow, that's karma for just doing it again, huh?
Yep. All right.
Oh well.
I don't think we
That
have
was a
anything.
5v6.
Yeah,
I'm
those
not that mad about
unfortunate.
it.
Exactly. You did good for a 5v6. All right. Yeah, you can probably just go ahead and hop into another one. Don't have anything to demonstrate so far.
Awareness, you're right. That's probably my biggest thing, man.
Yeah, that's definitely awareness feeds into your ability to make decisions, right? When you don't have good awareness, you can't inherently make good decisions. So just want to make sure we're paying attention to making good decisions, right? Or having good awareness so that we can make better decisions.
You see that new Ash skin?
Yeah, looks pretty sick. I also think
Looks
that
sick.
the Echo one looks pretty cool too. And there's
Those
a
are the
lot
two
of
that
good
I
ones.
bought.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool ones this time around. I think the rest of the ones like meh, but and Widowmaker's like pretty good. But I think the Echo and the Ash are pretty great.
That and then the Baptiste one just reminds me of the Stone Brigade one.
Yeah. I didn't think any like the epics are too good, like the ones that you earn
Yeah.
from playing.
So here, I like to just hold high ground here. Should I hold that corner instead beforehand since I have a hog and I'm main tank?
Honestly, a lot of times here you can just hold high ground anyways, because you're not gonna be able to retake. Like it's if you hold the corner, you're not gonna have time to rotate all the way around to get back to the high ground.
Yeah, I
So
know. That's why.
a lot of times it's just worth sticking and staying up here. Keep in mind as well that you can contest point from this high ground if you get close enough.
Okay, I didn't know that.
So yeah, if you're just trying to stop it from moving, you can just walk forwards. Remember to get just some early eat value, and yep, preferably, you know, when you see people shooting at you, so, you know, you see Ash Dynamite coming up, Fire Strike, just specifically look to get those specific abilities that are going to give you the most value out of it.
My team's dead. Oh, come on. I got pushed
Make sure,
off there.
make sure you're looking to back up when you're losing the fight, because now we're kind of half in, half out, and then we're going to end up dying. Oh, yep, end up dying, right? Because we kind of like poked and backed and poked and backed, right? And then now we just end up staggering ourselves. All right, so remember what we talked about with kill feed watching. When we see that we've lost a fight, we look to get out if possible, and it's definitely possible to get out there. And if we don't think it's
Yeah.
possible, then we just look to let them kill us fast. When we kind of do in the middle, then we
Well, they have
stagger
points,
ourselves, and it
so there's
doesn't
no
do very
reason to
good.
go up there.
So here we probably want to just back up or down a bunch of people, and we could probably take the high ground behind us. So we just want to wait for our teammates and retake the best positioning, right? So just climb up the stairs and get up to the high ground. Always want to get back up to that good positioning.
Oh, I missed him. I thought they were gonna go forward.
Yep. When you're looking for your ults, you're not ulting and then trying to get them to group up. You're ulting when they're already grouped up, right? We're trying to we're kind of eyeballing their team and going, okay, I have my ult. I'm waiting until they're all grouped up and clumped up together, right? That's gonna be the perfect time to go for your ult when they're all in a tiny little ball. Because then, no matter what they do, they're not really gonna be able to get away from you, right? It's gonna be super easy ult to use. Your stream's getting a little bit laggy, but hopefully it moves
Weird,
out.
man.
It
I
just
got.
pauses once in a while.
That's weird. I got like 1,000 down, so shouldn't lag on anything.
Okay, out in the open, make sure we're sticking next to cover. Alright, we talked about cover usage last time, right?
They got a res off in their backline? Jesus Christ, come here.
Nice staggers. Alright, yeah, your stream.
I got a letter 1v1 there. Hold on, let me
Yeah.
check here in just a second, make sure I don't have anything that's running in the background.
Alright.
Oh, I got a update running. Hold on. All right, it should get better now. My
Alrighty.
graphics card was driver was updating. That was weird. Okay, they're grouped up.
Right, just make sure you're taking it and placing it in front of where they're moving, right? So if Reinhardt's moving forwards to get out of it, placing it forwards. Also, if if there's nobody in your ult, don't feel like you have to use it immediately, right? You have a full 4 seconds. You can, if you don't have people in it immediately to go for it, wait till some people group up and clump up, and then we can look to use it.
Damn. So we're down a tracer. Oh my god, get out of here.
Yeah. Okay, positioning, we're a little bit far up there to start off. Most of the time, like, you're gonna want to hold near behind cart because you can use cart as a big source of cover, and you can kind of position
Right
yourself
around
around
it.
that. Yeah, exactly. Not necessarily when it's like on like right at the end there. You can push up a little bit, but there we just were pushed forwards a little bit too far to start off. Especially when you have your ult already, you don't necessarily need to push forward so far to poke. When you can just let them come to you.
I tried to get him.
Yeah, when we used it there, we used it when they were a little far away from our team, or just a little too early, which meant that it was very easy for them to run away. It was very easy. Our team wouldn't have been able to even capitalize on it if we even got one off, right? Just again, a little too far forwards. So did last time we had a session, did we talk about cover usage?
Yeah, playing around
Yeah.
corners.
All right, and did we talk about no man's land usage at all?
Oh yeah, no man's land and choke
Choke
point
points. All
or
right. Yep.
whatever.
So keep in mind that this here, right here, where we're standing in, is a big, long no man's land. We just want to make sure that we're
I
not
don't need to
standing
be
too
caught in the
far
middle of
forwards.
it.
Right? Yeah, exactly. You don't want to be in the middle of it. So behind cars, like, just probably gonna be the where you want to be standing instead of so far ahead of it, because that means that it forces them to go through it, and it means that you don't have to back up through it.
I think I just stopped his jump.
Very nice.
Oh,
Unfortunate. Just a little bit on the open again. Just make sure you're trying to stick next to cover and play safe so you can get your ult off there.
I keep, you know what I'm saying? Like when my team is like dying a bunch, and I try to get in the center of it so I can soak up some of the damage. You know what I mean?
Which I don't think that usually going to the center of the fight is going to be soaking up any more damage than being on the side of fights, and if anything, it encourages your team to be in worse positioning because you have more of a say in your positioning than, let's say, like an Ana does. All right, so if you have good
All right.
positioning, your team is going to tend to follow that a little bit, but if you have bad positioning, then your team also follows that bad positioning. So we want to make sure we're sticking next to corners and cover, and unless we need to, like, unless we absolutely need to contest point, then we just want to make sure that we're playing safe so we can stay alive longer and we can do things for a longer period of time.
I got you.
I was getting fixing and annoying the backline for a while. At the end there, though, it's just hard. I had to contest and just go straight.
Yeah. Do we want a Reinhardt or a Roadhog?
Roadhog probably.
Oh well. This round I'm gonna try to focus my play on playing corners then.
I'll try something else then.
There is no obligation for the universe to make sense to you.
Sigma's ult to me is like not as valuable as other ults in the game. I think.
Sigma's ult is actually one of the most powerful ults in the game.
I have, but I'm unreliable with it. You know what I mean? Like a
Yeah.
shatter, I can hit a shatter every time. You know?
Mhm. Yep, which in that case is just a big thing to put a lot of attention and effort into it, because I probably say Sigma ult in general is going to be a lot easier to land and a lot more. Or I probably would say like if you land a 6-man shatter versus a 6-man Sigma ult, I'd probably say a shatter is slightly bigger, but like more impactful. But Sigma ult's also a lot easier to land than a shatter is, because it doesn't get stopped by anything, right? You
I
can't
got you.
really stop a Sigma ult, so and it's a lot wider of a of a range than Shatter is. So Sigma Flux is a very very powerful ability that can stun multiple people and do half damage to everyone. Right, so it's pretty nuts, and we just want to look to get better at it so we can capitalize and do more damage and stuff like that with it, get more kills out of it.
I'm behind him. Get ready.
Payload moves in accordance. My barrier is destroyed. Enemy turret ahead. A payload in motion. Observe the barrier. Retrieving the barrier.
I'll go jumper.
Very nice.
Barrier stretching.
How did it get behind me? I thought I got it.
No, he threw it before you ate it.
Is our Junkrat trap?
Yep, they don't have a Junkrat.
Yeah, I saw that right after I said that.
Okay, so far it's looking like a lot of our shifts are actually doing really good so far. But rocks do seem like they're really inconsistent. So make sure you're putting a lot more effort into landing them, as it seems like half the
I
time.
kind of use them as like a spur the thing. Like, oh shit, here, try to rock.
Yeah, exactly. Which that's exactly how you should be looking to use it a lot of the time. But at the same time, it doesn't look like a lot of them are landing. We just end up whiffing a lot of them, whether going
Right.
into shields, risks of fortify. Right? Make sure we're not using into shields. Make sure we're not using the bubbles, not into risk of fortify, and oh. Alright, remember to let them clump up before we're using it. Right, that way we're not having to search around for something to get and then only landing with one person.
Well, I didn't know how else to push in here. My teammates weren't really using any abilities.
Which in which case, you just kind of poke and poke and poke, and you wait for an opportunity. You break shields. You do it that way, and you can wait until they group up. You don't have to necessarily ult before anything happens, right? Now you want to use ult semi early, but you don't want to use it so early that it's a battle, right? Because then did that, even if you use it there to push in, did that seem to work that fight?
Oh, they killed our team still.
Yeah, so back to rocks. Just make sure we're not using on things we can't get it past, and then we're putting effort into landing them as well. Okay, pay attention to where the bars at, right? We kind of kept staring forwards after she ulted. On top of that, we put shield up and then walked in front of it and left it. So make sure that when you're not using your shield, that you're kind of retracting it so that we can have the cooldown back and be ready to use it again. Because that meant that we didn't have it for when we got grabbed, right? And we didn't have it for when we pushed forward aggressively. So we want to make sure when we're not using it that we're pulling it down. Really good, like honestly, shifts are looking pretty fantastic at the moment. Oh, nice. And they definitely look clumped up to me right there. Alright, looked like we kind of panicked a little bit in the last fight. We ended up whiffing a lot of shots, so, make sure that we're focusing on hitting our shots, right? That we're not kind of forgetting that we still need to actually shoot stuff. So just, of course, getting consistent at different areas of the game is how you get better, right? Making sure we're not making mistakes and getting more efficient is just how you get better at the game naturally. So when it comes to that, so far mechanics are looking pretty solid, but it's not going to be solid all the time, and we're trying to get it to where it's solid most of the time, right? So
Right.
far, like if I were to like kind of put like just a number on it, I'd probably say like 5 out of 6 of our shifts were really really great. Like we have fantastic grasps that fight, right? But I probably also say that 5 out of 6 of our rocks ended up missing and hitting nothing, right? We only hit
Yeah.
like 1 in 6 of them, so that means that we just want to put a lot more focus into our rocks and making sure that they're actually connecting and hitting things. So because that's going to allow us to secure kills, so that's one of the easiest ways for us to secure kills because it does half someone's health and stuns them and makes it very easy to follow up with an additional shot. So we want to make sure we're putting a lot of concentration effort into that. Ults, I probably say like again, still a really really big thing to get better with those. The timing I think is usually pretty decent. Though, like I like that we're not holding on to them at all. We're using them in the fights that we're getting them, but the placement with them needs a lot of work, and we also want to make sure paying into extra attention into where are the enemy team grouped up. If they're trying to run away from your ult, where are they running to? Right, which direction do we have to kind of target our flux towards? Because if they're all running in one direction, that's very means that we can just put our flux a little bit in that direction, and they can't run out of it. So you just want to pay attention to that and look to use flux a little bit better. Mechanics so far is looking really solid. Just a tiny little just want to get consistent with it, making sure it's solid all the time, not just solid most of the time, right? Because that's how we get good and consistent.
This has
Awareness,
gotten way
go,
better because with projectiles, and I've never really used to them.
yeah, you'll the more you play with projectiles, the more used to them you'll get. I think that it looks especially like our rock projectile we're struggling the most with, but with just our regular our primary shots, we seem to be doing fine up until like the final fight. I'd probably say the final fight was where we seem to be missing the most shots. Um, but yeah, rock, just want to get used to the arc of it, right? And make sure you have to with projectiles you have to aim. You have to lead your shots. So if somebody's far away from you, you have to aim ahead of them, and if someone's far away from you, with abilities that have arcs, so like rock for example, you have to aim up as well, right? Because it's otherwise it's just going to go into the floor. So we want to pay attention to those things. And Then besides that, awareness, there's awareness also needs a lot of work on it, and I'd say awareness and positioning are looking like I'll probably put them in the medium categories. I'd probably say ults looking like the biggest thing here. Awareness and positioning's looking like kind of in the medium. And then ability usage, I'd probably say would be coming after that. Just needs consistency with Rock especially, and then finally would come mechanics, and mechanics looking pretty solid so far. Just want to get that again to be consistent, right? Probably look to
Gotcha.
get into a game again.
Yep. Let me. Man, what happens when you have to coach someone who's a DPS? You got to get like 2 hours at a time to be able to get a game, huh?
Yep. That's why typically like when it's a DPS player, like doing replays are just better, so you don't have to go through 10-minute queue times. But
Yo, that's rough, man.
yeah,
I like this map.
There is no obligation for the universe to make sense to
What's up,
you.
guys?
Attack commences in 30 seconds. Five, four, three, two, one. Attack.
Activating the barrier.
Capture objective A.
Death comes for all.
right. So we got a pick, so we're looking to press up on our advantage a little bit.
Oh, I heard that Rhine.
Remember
So
to use
good at
our
holding that
shift,
corner.
right? Very, very good.
Did that Lucio get away?
And we're coming up on our ult, so we're now looking for situations where they're all clumped up in a little ball.
They are pretty clumped up right now. But we're down too, so I'm not gonna
Yep, so
waste it
we're
right now.
exactly right. So we're just grouping up. We're waiting on them.
I guess I don't really need to poke since I already have my ult.
Yep. Oh, you might want to poke through that though.
Yep.
Maybe get a pick or something. Right, so we have our team back, right? If we're paying attention, so we can look for ult there. Very massive.
Oh fuck! I put it in front of the shield.
Yeah, I'm noticing that a lot of times we tend to send their shields out a lot really far. Remember, you're just trying to sit. A lot of the times, you're just
There's
gonna
their
send
Rhine.
out shield just a tiny little bit ahead of you. So you basically just tap it in front of you, unless you're trying to push forwards far or block someone specifically. Nice rock.
We're not.
Remember to pull your shield out when it's not doing anything. So in that fight, we kind of backed out when we were kind of still in the fight. Did we maybe misread how the fight was going?
I was dying.
All right, well, then in that case, we just remember to, you don't have to back so far out of the fight. We kind of went back past the choke when potentially we could have just walked to the right side, or we could have gone around in car.
Fuck.
Okay. There we kind of isolate ourselves from our team, make sure we're kind of sticking with them because they are all on the
Yeah.
left side, we went right side. So we want to make sure we're not walking too far off on our own because then we get kind of dove flip like that and then killed.
It's playing again.
30 seconds.
Damn, there's our Widow's first kill.
May yield a positive outcome. We must hurry.
I take no
Serve the barrel. Let them up. Get in here.
No one can hide from my sight.
Back to me.
10 seconds.
Good job taking high ground with that. I like that double usage. Keep in mind that when you cancel your shift with your rock, oh, it's talking a second.
Yo.
Keep in mind that when you cancel your shift with your rock, that you don't actually get any of the shields from it, the health from it. Might want to go ball here to get back fast.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I figured that Ryan would have. I'm a horrible ball player. I don't know how to do any of this shit.
Just whenever you're not you don't have your cooldowns, just D ball and just start shooting at stuff, right? There we're just kind of rolling around.
I was just trying to stall. I didn't know what to do.
Yep, usually on ball you're trying to roll through people. Like you kind of have three main damage sources. You're trying to roll through people, slam people, or shoot at people, right? Or all three. Trying to achieve.
That's always so much fun.
We weren't quite all there yet.
There is no obligation for the universe to make sense to you.
I'm not checking in.
Alright, let's back up.
No one can hide from my sight.
Back up.
That was bad.
Pay attention to whether or not you're winning or losing. Here we've been losing for a long while. We got 3 people who died, and then we kind of hung in the fight too long, and then staggered, right? So either we look to back out or we look to let them kill us. We don't want to stand in the middle again. So pay attention to when you're winning. Pay attention to kill feed. And when you're up 1 to 2, that's an advantage. Down 1 to 2, that's a disadvantage. Up 2 to 3, that's a won fight. Down 2 to 3, that's a lost fight, right? So we want to make sure we're
Yeah,
paying
I get
attention
so
to that.
tunnel vision in there.
Exactly, right? And then that results in mistakes, right? Where we just end up staying in way too long, and then that wastes time, or they just end up walking in without us. Nice shield.
Need a lot of heals here. One.
Jesus Christ.
I guess I should probably die.
30 seconds remaining.
Our team's
Alright,
staggering
so
a
this is
lot
our
right now.
last push.
Alright, we can go in on beat. Don't beat yet.
I'm not gonna.
We got time.
So you can see how stagger trains start is like when you die late, then your team walks out without you, and then they die when you're not
Right.
there, and then that does a repeat where they're walking in without you now again. Right?
I'll charge in. Alright, let's go.
Touch, touch, touch.
Touch.
All right. It seems I would probably change my placement and say that our mechanics are really solid when it's like a spam or a brawl comp. And I think we talked about comps last time, right? So I saw I put the chart there, so I'm gonna assume comps. I'm
Yeah.
saying so. I think that our mechanics are really solid against spam and brawl comps where they're all clumped up together and they're not moving very fast. But then it seems like when they're on some faster moving characters that we're struggling a lot more to hit mechanical shots. Because of course it's harder to hit faster characters, right? So I'd probably say that makes mechanics slightly more of a
I even think
more of a pressing issue, and maybe bumps it up to on the same level of abilities, or maybe even slightly above ability usage, specifically against like fast moving characters, because that we're seeming to be whiffing a lot more shots against these guys than in the past few games that we've
Hit
been
on
doing.
any character to me.
What is it?
So Lucio's hard to hit on any character to me.
Yep.
And then like when people are in the air, it's so hard for me to track with this. You know what I
Yep.
mean?
Exactly, because you have to lead and predict. It can't rely. You have to rely on the direct shots. You can't just go off of and that's what you want to go for. You want to strive to hit direct shots because that's doing a lot more damage than splash damage is going to do. So we just want to make sure we're focusing on leading our shots, aiming just a little bit ahead of them, right? And then that's
Take a
how we
different angle
adjust.
than the run.
1. Attackers incoming. Defend objective A.
We have a Bastion, don't we? Yeah, we
Yep.
do. I guess I'll stay with him since they're not.
Why can we go bash?
watch out.
Coming behind you, Bastion.
There's a Reaper behind you.
Reaper behind. Flank him.
Yeah, he's going point. He's going point.
Focus on main. Reaper on point.
Holy shit. That fucking Mercy's got some balls. You feel me?
Yeah.
There's no way for me to get up top, is there?
Not unless you flux or somebody else boops you up there.
Down, Ben.
You can stay there, right?
Back
He's got
up.
healers on. You can take some damage.
I was gonna say, bro, come on, you're a hit scan. You gotta do that. Can't do it. Oh, I can get booped here. That probably wasn't smart.
And don't leave your shield up to just get broken by the bomb if you're not going to use it, right?
I
Again,
did it to protect the Bastion.
oh, Bastion like had walked, was far gone by the time we did that, right? Bastion was like inside the room. Right, so you just gotta pay attention to the situation because then that just resulted in us having no shield, and then because no shield, we die on point. Right, so shield management sometimes I think we just need to pay attention to. I'd probably say it's not as bad as our rock usage, but it also needs a little bit of work. I'd probably say it's in the middle of your abilities. You seem to a lot of times just kind of plop shield up and then forget about it and not really move it around, not take it
do.
up, put it up or take it down. Just make sure we're not paying attention or paying attention to that. You're a little far up. You don't want to be so far up because we're down team members. We're not respecting kind of the no man's land thing that we usually get. Here you kind of have two spots you can hold. You can hold on point, you can hold on the high ground right above there. Or if your whole team's up there, then go hold up with them too. Holding choke isn't too terrible,
You got
but
mech.
point is probably going to be slightly better. Yeah, like here, we could just sit up here and then just drop if they push us at all.
Back up, Bastion. Back up.
Next round point.
She's dead.
Personne n'échappe à mon regard.
What if that would have hit?
Retrieving the barrier.
Go behind.
Oh, Ryan.
Reinhardt.
Yeah.
Hold my lamp.
Make sure we're using our ult this fight, right? We don't want to end up losing without using it.
Unstable. Activating the barrier.
Okay, nice. Probably the only thing I would say during that fight was just make sure we're using our ult slightly earlier. Remember that ults that are used first get more value than ults that are used second, as they get picks and kills and damage, and that means it puts your team at an advantage. We ended up using it pretty late in the fight, kind of like mid-fight, and then that meant that by that point we could have potentially lost it because of that.
Wake up, Bastion. Bastion, wake up.
Nice eats.
Back up a little bit.
Play smart. We got this.
Observe the barrier.
Great. Great.
Equation. What's that equation?
When they're trying to push through choke, that should be a perfect opportunity to use our flux, as that groups them all together, clumps them when they try to push through.
Good shield.
Okay, we're up 2. We can look to play a little bit more aggressive, right? Finish off some kills, get some staggers, right? D-Mech, Diva.
Barrier is unstable. Barrier no longer exists.
Good job, Percy.
The universum sinks for mine.
Thank you.
The problem there was that our team is not in line of sight of that, so they weren't able to capitalize on it. So instead, we might want to use it when like they're right after they've passed choke, right? Where our team can all see it if they're sitting on point. So pay attention to where our team's at, and in that situation, they just were not in line of sight of the enemy team, so they couldn't shoot at it to help us, and then that led to nothing happening.
Activating the barrier.
All right, not pretty much nothing wrong besides just the bad flux at the beginning. And then that was pretty much it. So why don't we head over to the kind of wrap up portion of the session, main points, all that jazz. All right, streaming if you want to take a look. Oh, you got. Oh no, you didn't get flux, or you didn't get play. Oh wait, no, you did. That's you.
Yeah.
Massive.
They gave me their triple kill.
Yeah, but there's a very, very, very big difference between like a 5-man
Yo,
flux and a 1-man
RIP.
flux.
Bastion, I got 33%. Oof. See.
All right. Oh,
Okay.
snap! I stopped sharing my screen on accident. I thought I stopped watching yours. All right. So, Sigma. All right, we'll go around the block real quick. Main points, or sorry, wrap up, right? Review. Um, so shift, honestly, probably one of the best parts of our kit. Honestly, we did really, really good with it. Most of the time that we used it, we got value out of it. We got a lot of shields out of it. Just look to use it. Not much to work with it. We did just it's slightly inconsistent, but that's gonna be like that. You know, you're never gonna get 100% of them to be good, but you know, so far we're off to a great start on it. Now rock probably say it's a lot less consistent. We're not really hitting it very often. It's like I said, it's kind of more like 1 in 6 that we actually are landing. So make sure we're
Yeah.
looking to put a lot more effort into it. Keep in mind, like the projectiles, right? How projectiles work is if you're right next to somebody, you can look directly at the person, but the further away you get, it has travel time. So they're far away from like this, if I'm aiming directly at them, it's just gonna end up going behind them, right? So we need to instead aim in front of him. That way, by the time the projectile gets there, it's actually he's there, right? So we're kind of predicting where he's walking. Same thing with the rock. The rock is pretty much the exact same thing, except we're also adding in an arc because it's going to, if we just aim straight at somebody when he's all the way over there, look at where this rock's going to go, right? Nothing. So instead we have to aim up a little bit higher so that the further away people are, and we also have to aim in front of them so that when we're throwing it, it's going to where they're going to be. So I guess we'll aim it for here when this bot goes up top. You're going to go up. Right in front of him. Okay, so I did a little too early, right? So that's kind of what you're wanting to look. The further away people get, the further in front you're aiming it, the further away they are, also you're aiming it higher, right? That's kind of how it works. Just put a lot more effort into it. Shield placement, make sure putting on corners, right? This helps your team keep good corner usage and better positioning, encourages them to get good positioning. On top of that, it means that only half of your shield is visible, and that means it's taking a lot less spam damage and it stays alive longer. On top of that, so far, kind of like what shields look like is it's kind of like we'll plop it out there, and then we'll move past it, and then completely forget about our shield and just not take it down, and we'll leave it up, and then it's just kind of not doing anything for us. So we want to make sure that whenever we're not using it or our team's not using it, we're pulling it down so we can recharge it and we can actually use it effectively. Make sure that you're placing it in front of yourself. You're not just kind of walking past it unless you have a reason to. On top of that, a lot of times we end up just kind of placing it really far in front of us. Keep in mind that this means that it covers less. When we put it far in front, it's covering less. So like if we put it up here, it's covering 2 people, but then 2 other people can see us for free. But if we place it if we just tap it and place it right here, now it's covering from everybody, from all angles, right? So unless we have there's specific times where you can put it forwards. Like for example, like if we're trying to cover our teammates when they're forwards in front of us here, we can put it forwards like that. If we're trying to specifically target like ice kind of zone off somebody up on a high ground, we can do that on like this guy up here on the high ground, right? We can just solo put him off. But besides that, you're not gonna want to like put it too far in front of you a lot of the times. You're gonna want to like kind of just tap it out in front, and then that gives you more time as well to shoot at people. Because the longer you hold it, the less time you're actually shooting, right? Now, on from there, we have ultimate usage. I probably says like the big one for today is just making sure we're getting good value out of it. Don't rush your ults, right? Look for good situations to use it. So that means that when like everyone's clumped up, we're not going to use it when they're separated, but we're going to wait until they come closer, right? So we wouldn't use it now, but we're going to wait till they come closer. Actually, we'll wait more time, right? We're not going to use it now, but we're going to wait till they come closer and ult when they get on top of each other so we can get both of them, not just one of them, right? Look for as many people as you can get, right? A 5-man Flux is going to do a lot more damage and stun a lot more people and be a lot bigger than a 1-man Flux, right? Just a very massive difference, 5 times the amount that you're doing. So look to really focus on getting as many people as possible. Don't use. I think we did a pretty good job of not using them in fights that were actually. Thinking back to Nubani, we did just make sure we're not using it in fights that are won or lost, right? Pay attention to whether or not you're winning or losing. So that we're not ulting when we have won or lost, because it's overkill when you've won, and it's not going to change the fact that you lost if you've lost. Look to use them early in fights. Don't hold on to them, because that means that they get less value, and you might end up just losing the fight before you get a chance to use it, and then you just would have to be forced to hold on to it. And then on top of that, look to look to not hold on to it, right? Just make sure you're consistently using it. I think we did a really good job of that, and we never kind of held on to it for like super long, so that was good. All right, now moving on to awareness or mechanics. We'll do mechanics first, right? We already talked about mechanics in terms of projectiles, but on top of that, just make sure you're really focusing in on your shots, right? So we can actually hit things. I think, honestly, most of the time it looked really, really fantastic. Just up against the dive, it seems a little bit shakier. But I'd probably still I'm going to put it at the bottom of the list, probably, of things to work on. But, it still does need a little bit of consistency, so just keep practicing at it. Now moving on to awareness. There's a lot of different types of awareness, right? You have HUD awareness, right? On that note, I think we actually did really good. No problems on HUD awareness. You have kill feed awareness when it comes to watching kill feed, right? 1 to 2 people up or down is an advantage or a disadvantage. You play more aggressive accordingly, right? When you're up 2 to 3, that is a 1 fight. No, at that point, no ults, right? You play super aggressive to get stagger kills. When you're down 2 to 3, that is a lost fight, and you don't want to use ults. And you also want to look to get out if you can, and look to, if you don't think you can get out, look to let them kill you. But a lot of the times you kind of just like didn't do either, and we kind of just sat in there and for longer, and then that staggered ourselves. So make sure you're not staggering yourself, because that wastes time, and it means that it starts stagger trains, and it means that your team's gonna end up staggering too. Right, so staggering is never gonna be a good habit to be in. So pay attention to kill feed when you're winning or losing. Right. On top of that, pay attention to team and the enemy team, right? Where are they positioned? A couple times we kind of ran off on our own away from our team because didn't know where they were, or we'd like kind of go in without, or I think so we did a decent job of it, but like sometimes we'd like just kind of be separated from them. So pay attention to where our team's positioned and where the enemy team's positioned, because that'll dictate a lot of things as well. Audio awareness, I didn't think we had too many issues with that. You have, and I think that's it when it comes to, and then awareness of where people are at and what direction they're moving in will allow you to land better ults as well, right? And when someone's moving, if we know that they're moving to the left, we can place it in front of them on the left, or like when they're coming right side here, we can place it in front of them so that they're moving into it. All right. Besides that, I guess moving on to positioning. Make sure that you're not, out in the open. Remember, we talked about this last time when we're standing here. This is bad positioning because it's out in the open. There's no cover. When we come over here, there's much better positioning because now we can just boom behind cover. All right, so good positioning is the usage of cover. Bad positioning is the absence of cover. On top of that, make sure we're respecting no man's land and chokes, right? We're not standing in the front of them or in the middle of them, but we're standing at the end of them. Use payload as cover as well, right? A lot of the times you're gonna want to like hold close or near to payload unless there's better positioning somewhere else. But we just kind of on Route 66, we kind of like pushed ahead of the payload where there wasn't better cover, and then that meant that we just kind of were in poor positioning, and we weren't really respecting the no man's land, where like that entire last point is kind of like really far out in the open, and we kind of were holding in the middle of it, right, instead of on the corners behind cart. So just respect the no man's land and cover usage, right, and choke, and then that is it. So main points. Probably would say number 1 this session was ultimate usage. You're going to be getting a whole lot better value out of your ults, and ults are pretty massive parts of the game, and Sigma Flux especially is probably one of the most powerful ults in the game in comparison to a lot of others, right? Go into spawn real quick, like Flux is better than Bob, Flux is better than Bash, and Flux is better than Doom. Probably not better than Echo, maybe it's a little bit more flexible, right? Better than Dragon, better than High Noon, better than Barrage, better than Soldier Visor, right? Better than Wall, better than Torbolt, better than Pulse Bomb, right? Better than Widow Sights, right? It's better than a ton of ults in the game. So we just want to make sure we're putting a lot of effort into it, because, hitting a ton of people with it is going to be doing a lot. So put effort into it and think about it and make sure you're focusing on it. On from there, probably say number 2. I think I'm gonna combine these because they're kind of like similar in kind of their placement for you. It's probably just combine positioning and awareness, as they're both kind of like you had your moments with them. Where you
My
just
thing is like I'll be doing good and then I'll like go into like tunnel vision.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yep, 100%. And it's just getting to the point where you're not tunnel. I don't think tunnel visioning is ever really a good thing, because it just means that you're not being aware of your environment, right?
No,
So
it's not good in any
Yep,
game. It's
exactly.
hard. this game's a lot more immersive than like a lot of the other shooters that I play. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And so it's like you get caught up in like just you fighting whoever you're fighting instead of focusing on like where's the team at, how many people have died. Like I'm about to 1v1 this monkey real quick.
Yep, exactly. Right, and we just want to make sure we are paying attention because that'll allow us to make better decisions, right? And to stay alive longer and do more things and do things better. So it's just an important thing to try to get out of tunnel visioning. Right now, positioning and awareness are kind of number 2, tied for number 2. Number 3 is going to come in at ability usage, just being cup 2 of them inconsistent, and then one of them doing really fantastic. Shift usage doing fantastic, and then number 3 comes, or the final thing, number 4 is coming in at our mechanics, being just inconsistent, though really, really fantastic most of the time. All right, any questions on anything we've gone over?
No, man, it just kind of iterized like every time I lose a game, I'm always like I just get distracted in the fight. You know what I mean?
Yup,
So focused on the fight, I can't pay attention to the game.
exactly, right. And you don't want to completely forget about the thing you're shooting at, but you also don't want to be so tunnel visioned on the thing that you're shooting at that you're forgetting everything around you, right? And then making bad decisions accordingly. So try to open yourself up a little bit more to where you're not tunnel, like if we're just kind of like, I'm gonna get this guy, I'm gonna get him, right? And then all of a sudden you're like, oh snap, I'm in the middle of their entire team, right? Then that becomes a problem because you're not paying attention, and in tunnel visioning that results in mistakes and issues. So we just want to make sure that we're being aware of what's happening around us and not just going tunnel vision across there. We're looking around us at the corners of our screen, not just staring directly at our crosshair and at the person we're trying to kill, right?
Yep.
Okay, so any other questions?
No, man.
All right, well then I'm going to end the